Hello there and welcome. My name is Jimmy Wickman, and in today's video we're going to deep dive a little bit into the native approvals functionality that has been rolling out now for Confluence. And if you haven't gotten it already, it should come to you soon, and there seems to be a little bit of a mismatch between the rollout and the release notes. It's a little bit tricky to know which release note is actually connected to this specific rollout. So if you haven't paid attention, or if you haven't had time because you are on vacation and life is good, then you might have not seen that the announcement came in the Confluence, the Atlassian community on July 10th. And I've been waiting patiently ever since to get it in my instance, and it finally dropped. So today I'm going to go through what it is, give you some thoughts on, remember this is first iteration of this functionality, and it's more like an MVP, I feel, and something that they are actually going to be satisfied with. And I will also compare it a little bit to more competent plugins, like for example Komala Document Management, which is my personal favorite for it. But let's dive into the community announcement first, so you can see what they actually said, and then I will show you what this plugin actually, this new functionality, it's not a plugin, this new functionality actually do, and then we can have a little bit of a discussion at the end there, what I think that they need to do in the future, and where I think this is going. So let me jump over to the community article and show you what they actually said first. So this is now, let me zoom in a little bit. It's a little bit cramped for you, I think. Like that should be better. Here we go. Now we can see it a little bit better. So here we are now in the Atlassian community. This is the announcement that was made by Ali, and this one is, she's very excited about this one, and we are too. So this is now open beta, so this is not the final general availability functionality that is coming, so that's why I meant it's a little bit of an MVP at the moment. So this is only available for Confluence Premium Enterprise, so if you don't have Premium or Enterprise, then you will not see it. It's still a little bit unclear if it will come to Standard or Free. I'm guessing that they will hold off with that one for a little bit, but we'll see. And then they have described a little bit why do they want it. I don't think this is any rocket science. There are many scenarios where you need to have different types of approval requirements, for example, and especially if you're working here now with policies and procedures, then you follow different ISO standards, for example, then you need to have this one. And so there are many reasons why you want to have it, and that's why plugins like Komala Document Management, for example, has been very popular. And then what this one will actually do. So core features then is you will have the possibility to have a sign-off on pages, and you have an approval process, and you can actually have documents will now be clearly indicated if it has been approved or not. And you will have a review status. This is one of the downsides, I think, of this one. For now, this one is fairly simple. So you will have in review, and it will either be approved or change requested. And these are basically the different states that you can have. There's no workflow for this one at the moment, but it works the way it have it right now. So, and I like these icons also. It's clear what they are. And you also get notifications. You get a lot of notifications, actually, especially if you, like me, do it on your own instance, when you get all the notifications because you're the only person there. So that's fine. It's also automation ready. I haven't checked this one out yet. So this one I will look into. But at the moment, it follows the functionality. And I will show you, because it's only when pages are published that you can actually do anything. So not on edit yet. And then publish controls, this is actually a little bit not really true. It's only on create, not on update. So we'll check that one out as well. And then you have activity log. This one is actually fairly nice. And so we'll actually check this one also. And you can also enforce approvers, which is great. So I covered all of this one in my previous video when I went through this article. So we're not going to stay this one here for long. But this is inaccurate, just so you are aware. So this one says go to your space settings and enable approvals. You have to do a step before that one first. So let me jump over to my Confluence and show you the actual steps, because I was confused about this one. So let's jump over to my demo space here. So the first thing that you will notice is if you go to space settings and if you go to general here, you will have status and approvals here. So they are there, but you first need to activate the feature. So first you need to actually go to configuration and new features. And this is where you actually have to turn it on. This was not mentioned anywhere, but just so you know, if you go to new features, approvals, and you turn this one on, then you can actually get this activated for your Confluence instance. And you also have a little link here, so if you go to that one, it will give you the basic information on how to do things. As always, it's just text, which is a little bit a shame, because it was not that straightforward as I thought to actually get started with this. But once you have it in your in Confluence here, and when you go to your space, and you can now activate it here under space settings, under statuses approval, under general here, you will find this section here. Now, it looks like there are more functions than it actually is, and that's because they added this section here. So these are just the statuses that you can actually have, and they are following the same design pattern as this one. We do not have any custom statuses here, like you have here, for example. And you cannot add more statuses here. I'm guessing that could come in the future, so we can actually create workflows for it. But you have these two functions. So require approval before publishing. I thought this meant for all kinds of publishing. And if you have this text here now, if you look at that one, it says require new pages. And this is the key here, because I tried this and it was a little bit confusing. But it's only when you create a new page that this one will actually trigger this one. And this one does not apply to live docs, it only the pages, does not work on whiteboards, databases, anywhere else, just on pages. And you can actually set now, this is kind of nice, so you can have a required approver that is for all pages within one special space, so one specific space. So this is great for controlling that space itself, but you can also add additional approvers if you need to. So the way it works now, if I create a new page here, and I call this one demo page, because why not? And we add a little bit of a text. This is a demo page. Now, when I click on publish here, because we had this setting that every new page needs to be approved, I will get this question here. So I can either return to my draft, continue working on it, or I can start the approval. So if I start the approval, I will have one required approver here now, and I can add a message, please approve. And I can set at what date do I actually want this one to be done. So I can make this one, set it to due date for tomorrow, and I can click start. So nothing really happens here because it's not published yet, because I can't really do that one. So if I go in here now as me, and then I will actually see that there's an approval here. So let me see if this one actually, there you go. Now it will actually see that it's here. So this one is now not published when it's a new one, and I can respond to this one. And this one I have some objections to, that you actually have the preferred function approved is actually on the left, and the negative one is actually on the right. I would like to have these switched, because the preferred path is that this one should be approved. And I can add a message here. I like it. And then I can approve this. And then it will actually get approved, and now I can actually publish it. And you will have now an approval status here. And you have a little bit of details here. And if I click on that one, it will open the approved tab here. And I can also click on this one, and I can now see, if I do this, I can see all the changes that has happened. This is great for ISO, that you can actually follow what has happened during this one here. I can also do this, and I can see just the approval step that I'm currently on, if you have multiple ones. And I can also change the status. And this is the one that I was looking for, because you have it at the end here, so you can actually change the status and have a new approval. Now, what I hoped would happen was that now I have an approved, I have a published demo page. If I edit this one now, and I say second edition, this is where I would like to have the same situation. I would like to have now, you need to have an approval to actually continue editing this one or publishing it. It will just say that it has previously been reviewed and approved. If you proceed, it will replace the content and clear the approved status. So now it's approved, now it's published, but it's not approved anymore. And I can't actually do anything with this page. I cannot, there's no function anywhere to actually approve it or request a new approval. So the only way for me to actually get that is to edit this page again, and I need to actually add a status here, and I need to go to Start Approval. Now I can add a new approval here. But I can still publish it, which is kind of weird, that this functionality does not, this flow does not make any sense to me. So there is something missing in this flow here. So now I can even go here, and I can actually, and I cannot add more people here if I have set it that I have a default setting. So I will show you what it looks like when I remove that one. So now I can respond, and if I request a change here now, I say that the second edition I don't like, I can request a change for this one. And what is actually happening here is I will have a change request here, and I will get a bunch of notifications as I do this. And I can now see this one, and I can either clear the approval, which just removes it, it's still published, or I can edit the page. If I just clear the approval here, then the second edition is still here. I don't have the possibility to actually add a status or request an approval. I have to go in and edit this one. I have to add a status, and I can show you if I just add a regular one. It does not have to be the approval, but as long as you have one of these, I can now start the approval. Let me do that again. And in this case, I will request a change, and I can now edit the page. Third, like so. I can update it, and it will still be here. Nothing will actually happen in this case, and I need to push this one to an approval again. And I have to get it approved. The flow here is very, very strange, and I don't think this is the intended flow for it. For me, this is more of a manual trigger to get some kind of metadata on the page. It's not really an approval flow. So I'm not really sure what the intent is here. So let me explain how I think it should work. When you create a new page, I think that flow works. But we do that again. Let's create a new page. This is great. So this is the way I want it. And I can now create an, here I should be able to have, even if you have required, I should be able to add additional ones. That's the first thing. Now, this part is fine. If you push back and say request change, then it's not published. So that's fine. And I can see that has been requested. I can edit the page. I can now add some text. I can publish it again. I will return to draft. Now it will be still here, and I need now to actually change the status here again, and I need to start an approval. This is not how I would like to have this one. When I click on the publish there, I would like it to go back to that state automatically. So it actually goes back in the flow. So from a workflow perspective, this doesn't have any workflow, and the logic seems to be a little bit odd to me. Now, once you have approved this one, and this one is fine for me, but it's not published, which would be a nice thing to actually have. So yes, we could probably set up automation, but if a page is approved, then it should automatically be published, in my opinion. This should be done automatically by approval. What doesn't work for me now is when I edit this one and I want to do some things, I have to actually start my approval right away before I can do the update. That is a flow that, yes, that makes sense, but it's dependent on me as an individual to actually remember to do that before it actually goes into publish. It should be the interception here, so I should not be able to do this because it is already published now and it's not intercepted. So this is something that I don't like. I don't think this is an approval then. It's just a, basically it is a stamp on the page with some metadata, and it's not really an approval per se, and doesn't approve the publication. It just says, are you okay with the context here? So yes, this, if we think about the different scenarios here for a moment. So if I'm writing something and I would like to have like my manager's opinion on something, if they agree with it, this flow works. That's perfectly fine. If you have workflows or process documentation that you need to make sure that they are controlled, this does not work. It does not compute at all for me. And if you have this one for requirements, for example, that does not compute for me either. You need to intercept and have basically two states. You need to have one that is in edit mode, that you are waiting to publish, that you should be able to approve, and you need to have one that is the final published document. So this one, as it is implemented right now, this is more like, can you check to see if you think this is good enough for me? That's the kind of approval that you have here. And let me just show you what it looks like, because now I've showed you what it looks like when you have required approvers. So if we go back and do this, and I can just approve this one, and I can show you what it looks like when we edit this one now when we don't have one. So then I can now have approvers like this, which makes sense to me. For more control, you should be able to have a little bit more control over who you can actually invite, the different groups and things like that. Right now, anyone can approve, which means that if I have now a very secure documentation that I need specific flows for approvals, I can just invite my buddy and we can publish this, no problem. And I can even go above this one and publish it as I see fit. So as of today, I would say that the approval that you have, and this is also a little bit humorous. So if I take me, for example, you cannot add yourself as an approver, but I can do it if I put it as a requirement approver. So this is also a setting that you should be able to do, because even if you are required, you should not be the only one that can actually approve it, because then it becomes kind of pointless, just like if you have it here. So there should be some check there as well. But there you have it. That is how the current setup for native approvals in Confluence works. It's not bad, but it's not really where I think it should be and where I would like to have it. But it is still a very nice addition. So let's summarize then what we have looked into and what are my thoughts here. What do we need to do? Remember, this is still in beta, so it's not the final product. I think Atlassian are well aware that the flow that they have is a very simple one. And I also think that they are aware this is nowhere near good enough if you want to have compliance or if you actually want to control documentation. So for me, this is an MVP. I think this is what they are using now for an open beta to get feedback. I think they have a fine, long roadmap of things that they want to add. So for me, the two things that they have to add right away, or for it to actually be useful, beyond having like a second opinion and some metadata on the page, is that they need to have it on edit. So they need to actually intercept. So I can do the same thing I have on create now. When I create a page, they can tell me then that you have to get an approval for it. And that needs to happen also on the edit. So when I edit an approved page, it should actually go into that same mode. The other thing I don't really like is that they have connected now to status here. I don't know if they intend to change the statuses anyway, but it's a weird place to actually have it. And as you can see here, if I get an approval without, if I edit the page without an approval, then there's no status here. So that means I cannot actually go in and do this. So I think this is an awkward place to actually have it. At the same time, it makes sense that you would have it here, but having arbitrary labels, which is what statuses are at the moment, and then having an actual function in the same place, that seems a little bit odd to me. So I hope what they are planning on doing is to have some kind of merge of these two, so you can actually have different workflows depending if the page requires an approval or not. But I think the second thing that we need to have is some kind of workflow, because an approval is one thing, but like you saw, if I push back, it just dies and I can edit the page and I have to trigger it again. It should go back to the same status here. It should go back to waiting for approval. Once I've edited again, I should not need to manually add it to the page again. And I guess the third thing that you should have is in the settings here, is if I turn this one on, I would like to have, well, first of all, why can I not add groups here? That would make more sense that I can actually add groups here. And then the second thing is I now have myself as an approver, which means that I can now approve every change in this space. And that does not make any sense to me, because then why have any approver at all? So yes, it's fine if you have more than one. If you have two, then yes, that could be fine. It basically means you don't need to be there to actually approve it. But I would like to be able to have a little checkbox that I can add additional users to this one. So if you think from a space perspective here, so if I, for example, I'm the process owner, I own all the processes that is documented in a specific space, I still want to add additional people. So either have to turn this one off and manually add everyone every time, or I should have a group that is process owners that are generally responsible for the processes. But then let's say I change the development process, for example, or the test process, or whatever process I have. Then I would like to be able to add the people that are responsible for those processes manually. So having required plus manually adding people, that would be great. And this one, of course, I would like to have require approval before publishing. I would have two checkboxes on create and on edit, so I can have both here. Other than that, I think it's a nice new functionality. I think it looks good. I think the way it is being handled is actually nice. I would like to have here on the page here, so even if I don't have this status here, so even if I don't have an approval here, let's approve it again. So even if I don't have this one, Let me just do that. So this one, even if I don't have this label here, because I can remove this one, as you see, if I edit without adding this one, it's gone from the page. I cannot actually find it without this approval function that you actually have in the status. And I cannot find this one anywhere else than in this view either. So it would be nice if I could have it on the page itself. Maybe I need to update it and publish it, so you can actually see what I mean. So in here, it would be nice if I could have this kind of information as well. And even if I go to, let's see, where do we have that? Here, I think, right? So here would be nice to have some kind of information, what kind of change has been done, what kind of approvals have been done. Because if this one is gone, then I'm kind of screwed, and this data does not exist in the document. And it would also be important to know, for export purposes, if I need to export this information, how do you do that? So there's a lot of fun things that needs to happen for this one. But for now, if you have this in your Confluence Premium today, what you can do is you can have making sure that every page that's actually being created in your space, which could be a main reason for actually having this one, making sure that people don't just create a bunch of documentation and that you have some kind of approval process before even adding them to your space. That's a great way to have that one. And you can also trigger this one and actually have a second opinion or approval as part of the changes that you're making. But at the moment, you cannot force it. So it has to be voluntary. So if I create some new addition text to a page, a new version of it, I'm the person who actually have to ask someone if they want to approve it or not after it has been published. So that's the sad part about this one. Overall, I think this is a nice new step that Atlassian is taking. And I think this is a great MVP. And I'm looking forward to seeing this one being evolved more and more, because this has the potential to really change what we can do with Confluence. And because right now it is being kind of overlooked, because you cannot have it as a system of work or other type of documentation in regulated industries, because you do not have this built-in functionality to actually control approvals. So for that one, you need to have two apps at least. So one that actually gives you the flow that you have Kamala document management for. And then you need to have something that actually duplicates the page, which is a sad part, because app vendors cannot actually intercept the create as you can do now with this one. So hopefully they will expose this functionality so that app creators can also use this one. Because then we can have a lot of new functionality, new validations coming in application form. So I'm looking forward to that. But that was all I had for this video. I hope that you found it useful. And also, as always, I hope that you will have a great day and awesome week.